Tell
Didn't print
stories.
my minutes again,
All right,
but I can pull them
I
up.
believe we are up and running.
All right.
I will double check.
Well, I was gonna say, if you would just double check, and then we will take off here. And we're gonna call the meeting to order. And the attendance, we have regular member,
Yep,
and
for life. Oh, somebody's even watching. Well,
if
I'm
you
watching.
can basically be voting for Jess Stone.
Okay.
And you can run with this.
There you go.
And, all right, first on the agenda is the special minutes of April the 20th. I don't know whether everybody had a chance to review those or not.
I read through them, didn't see anything glaring on there.
Okay, all right. Only thing I saw was basically on page 2. It was on the subcommittee reports under Connecticut Landmarks and EDC. The first, second, third, fourth line down at the end, it said in King, it should be in kind matches are allowable. So it's just a slight correction there in the spelling. And other than that, I thought it represented the meeting quite well. So, does anybody else have anything they would like to add or change?
Nope.
All right, then I'd accept a motion to approve the minutes as written with the one correction that I made on page 2.
I second that.
We need a motion.
Oh, a motion. I make a motion.
Make a
that
motion
we
to
accept
approve the
that.
minutes?
Yes.
I'll second
As
that.
written, and if you second it, all those in favor?
Ah,
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously here. Okay, EDC report. Basically, I just like to, a couple of things that were in our minutes here and just kind of bring us all back up to date on it. One of the things we talked about was the farm stands. Farm stands have become a big issue. P&Z came out with wanting to make new regulations. I don't know whether they read it in the East Haddam News. It's now gone, I'd say that the farmer's market. Would you like to comment on this a little bit? Have you been to the meetings?
I watched the meetings and I sent in a letter.
Okay,
I spoke to Jim. So I guess the article was written just by watching the YouTube video. They didn't actually interview anybody. I don't know if, did you watch the P&Z meeting where they were talking about it? It was on like April 13th or something.
I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the article was a little bit more harsh than what the meeting was, but
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, I think the P and Z, from what I got from at a P and Z meeting, is that the regulations that P and Z has on the books right now states that farm markets can sell what's produced on the farm.
Right.
That is my understanding. Nothing more. So it has to be produced on the land where the farm stand is located. I think all of us feel that we would like to make that a little bit broader, to take and allow them to sell other things, you know. And then they started talking about, 50% and on the land that the stand is on, and 50%, and so they started getting in all these equations, which I don't want to take and say one's better than the other, or one's right and one's wrong. I mean, you can go, 70-30, whatever they come up with. So anyway, P&Z has written
How do you even
up
enforce
yeah,
that?
no, and who's gonna go into the stand and say, okay, did that grow here, or is that grown down the
Only
street?
6 of those eggs were.
Yeah.
That green one's out. Come on.
It seems like, a little over the top. But I think the bottom line is, and what I brought out at the meeting is, we want these stands. It's very important in order to boost agriculture here. And so let's not make it hard for people. And so I think their point is how big can a stand get? And You know, I don't want to get into that either. I mean, I want to see the stands have whatever they need and unless it got out of hand in some way.
I think they're talking about adding like another category. So either you're a farm stand or a farm store. Because then you cross the line, we're on residential property versus commercial property.
Right.
I can understand that, like, if you're buying wholesale and selling, like, you don't have any really rules or regulations, where a store has to pay taxes and follow all these rules, so that's.
And they gotta be in a commercial zone.
Right, so they met with the Ag Commission on Monday night,
Right.
which I sent a letter in and I watched,
Did you watch that meeting?
I did watch it.
Okay, what
and
came out of that meeting?
I thought it was all good. Like, it was a good conversation. They want to support everybody, but we kind of have to come up with some framework of
Okay.
how this can all go, because I think people are using and abusing, I think, is where this might have come from. I don't know.
I was gonna say, what was the motivation behind, is there like some complaints, or
Yeah.
was there?
Yeah.
So it's basically people are not happy with a certain type of home business. is
Well,
kinda what
that's
it
the
comes
thing.
down
There's
to.
home business, cottage, kitchen cottage license, whatever, the health department, there's lots of
Bunch of
layers
things.
to it.
I see.
So
Okay.
moving forward, they want to work with the EDC,
Ag Commission.
right, the ag,
And PMZ.
everybody.
But also.
and get the
there-
input from the farmers too.
And, absolutely, and then also, you got the health district involved as soon as they start to produce, you know, anything that's coming out of a kitchen.
Right.
So if they put a pie out there, that's a whole different story from growing a tomato.
Right.
And,
And the question is, who is checking? Like, so you get your cottage kitchen license, you're supposed to do a well test and have a safe serve license. So now the question is, who's collecting the water tests? So the consumer protection actually does the cottage kitchen stuff. It actually has nothing to do with the health department, but there's loopholes. So I think they're just trying to kind of get a handle on it. And, yeah.
so, but it's certainly been upsetting
It-
to
yes.
the farm, for the farm stands, because they're thinking that, now here comes problems
Right.
here with every little farm stand, and
Right.
somebody's
Like-
gonna come around with their notebook and seeing whether somebody baked the pie, or whether they bought the pie, or
Yes,
whatever.
from cookies to jelly to pizza. Last time I was at the farm stand, the farm market, there's a variety of things being sold.
Right.
And I realized, being from around this particular town, that where'd the jelly come from? Where'd you make the jelly? Where'd you make the cookies? Everything. So your hands are really tied, and it's getting kind of technical, just to sell
Well,
a
there's so
cookie.
many people involved here with health district,
Right.
you know, there's so many people involved in it, so that, you know, over this jelly jar, I mean, you know, it
Right.
seems like
So
it's
the
a,
solution is, you have to have your jelly certified, you have to have those cookies certified. That's what it's come to. Because can you buck the Chatham Health District? Can you tell them to take a walk? No, they've got more leverage than the average person selling a cookie. Our Chowder Fest that we have, they came in and it gave us a rather difficult time, not a polite time. It was rather rude, that was an issue. And it got too difficult for people to contribute their chowder. A lot of people don't have the kitchen. Whose kitchen are we gonna borrow? It's
well,
hard
it's
to borrow.
gotta be a commercial kitchen to do anything cooking.
Yeah, and it's hard to get that. Where the heck is a commercial kitchen? And right now, that's an issue with, somebody we were talking
Well,
about.
we were just talking about it
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah.
where I tell you, the church has got a gold mine they're sitting on right there.
What?
If they-
St. Stephen's.
The commercial kitchen.
If they could
St.
monetize
Stephen's,
that,
right?
they
The health-
wouldn't have to
You're
collect
referring to
donations
St. Stephen's.
in the middle of mass.
Right.
I mean,
The health
say-
department says if you cook in the commercial kitchen, you can't transport the food out of there.
Really?
Yes,
I
that's,
don't believe that.
so if I made
Really?
grease boxes, they would have to come get them there.
What,
And
do you
I-
have to like seal them or
Well, that's-
package
that's-
them?
I cannot transport them away from
I'm
the.
shocked.
Yeah, there's a
How can that
lot
be?
of,
Everybody
so,
around the world, you cook it and you take off with
Right.
it. Cooking to go. We have food to go.
Well, you can do that, but you can't take it and sell it at another location.
That's
So
insane.
you could have anybody come to the church and
And
pick
pick
it
it
up
up.
and pay for it at the church, but you can't take and put it in your
Farm
truck
stand or-
and
yeah,
take
wherever.
it to your farm stand and sell it at
resell it.
your farm stand. Yeah, so, I mean, this stuff is so technical, but I think that, you know, where P and Z is, if they want to take and make it so that it's clarified, because what they have now is super restrictive.
vague.
That's really restrictive. So how far do you open the door, and then what do you have to do if you have a farm stand and you want to do something?
May I ask, is the farm
God bless.
stand open this year already? Are they
The
open?
farmer's market, you mean?
Farmers market? 'Cause that's what we're referring to. the
No, we're
farm-
talking about farm
Farm
stands.
stand.
Oh, no, these are like
Like people selling eggs, like I have a farm stand, Justone has a farm, Boho Farm, they wanna like
Well, let's back
regulate.
up a little bit. At the farmer's market,
Yep,
everybody has to be registered where that jelly's coming from, where the cookies are
Right,
coming
right.
from.
Well, because Chatham Health is
That's
there.
Chatham Health.
They're already there. So they're
How are
on
they
it.
claiming where this stuff was made? Are they lying? Nobody's making their cookies and the jelly in a commercial kitchen.
you can make cookies, you can bake at home with a cottage kitchen license. But you have to have a safe serve certification and you have to have a water test done. And then but that's through consumer protection.
Yeah,
So it doesn't really make sense, to be honest.
Well, it's overlapping.
Right,
I mean,
right, like-
between the health district saying one thing, the
interesting.
consumer protection saying another thing.
Right.
Or they're all just piling up on top of everybody in order to get this cookie made. It seems like.
And really, is it worth selling the freaking cookie when all is said and done? Is
How
where
much is
I'm
it gonna
coming from.
cost you to get all these licenses and maintain all these licenses, and of course,
Then if you do it through consumer protection, they're gonna want you to register with the state
and to collect taxes on it.
first. So,
And so it just gets to be out of hand.
Right.
you know what, it's just discouraging everybody, you know, like I've been talking to Gina from Boho Farm and, you know, like she has a lot invested
Yeah.
and, you know, and we all have to supplement, right, with other things in the farm stand. We're not making money in the dead of winter, we're not making millions of dollars off of our eggs. So if they come and get eggs and they pick up a candle that she made, that's where you make your money. And that's what the discussion is. Cause like I sell stuff that I make that I don't grow at my farm or have eggs. And they told me at first no, but then they started like, well, cause Gina, you know, like we have to figure out, I think, some guidelines. Like you can have crafts and then X amount of like, if you buy stuff wholesale and sell it, like what are the lines?
Well, and equally, you can't have somebody sitting in the stand for 8 hours if all I've got to sell is eggs. I
Right,
mean,
right.
financially, that just is not gonna do it.
Right.
I mean, you've gotta have other stuff to sell.
Right.
Or you're gonna be making 3 cents an hour.
Right,
For
exactly.
your time here.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
I mean,
Go
ahead.
ahead, Ted.
I think if you have a farm stand and you go, whether it be farmer's market or somewhere in town, and you get other agricultural products to sell on your farm, be it from your farm stand or somebody else's farm stand, to bring it and have a bushel of apples and a basket full of ears of corn, that's okay.
Right, and
Because
they were
you're
saying-
supporting it, you're just spraying it around so it's more convenient for people in the neighborhood to get. I don't see that being an issue at all.
Well,
there's-
it is right now.
I know, but
Right.
I'm saying,
I don't think anybody has
I
an
don't think that's pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
You know, and
and they did agree
if you wanna
that
make
like if it's
widgets or carving,
Connecticut-
or walking sticks and sit on your porch and whittle one down and sell it, and then she wants to do a painting or
That's
something.
where it's getting, they're
That's where it's
saying
getting
no.
fuzzy.
You know, it's stuff that was stuff that was produced on the property, and my argument is that I go to farms all the time for work. Farmers, you talk to many farmers, there's very few farms that people make a living at.
Right.
They do it as a hobby, they might break even, they might take in some income, but it's not enough to support themselves on, so.
Okay.
So the way I look at it is, farmers should be allowed to do X amount of work in today's society, today's world. I mean, I'll give you an example. A $21.39 has the same buying power as a dollar did in 1939. So, and now they're taking 50% of tax on the dollar versus where they only took a small amount. So farmers need a break, and I think that's where we can offer it to them by allowing them to do things that maybe you couldn't do in a strip mall or something like that.
They do need
And I
help.
think that's what P and Z was talking about with the 50% or 60% or whatever is on the farm, and then 40% can come from other sources, and to be able to sell at your stand. And,
I disagree. I think if you are a legitimate registered 490 farm, or maybe even a farm rescue or something along those lines,
Yep.
if you got 75% of your stuff to put at the end of your driveway in a little lean-to hut, I don't see an issue with it, because you are a farm. And
So
That's a
if
good
you feel
point.
like if they had
Good point. You are a
25%
farm.
on the farm and 75% wherever.
Right, because they are already a farm.
A new farm or a grandfather farm, whether you're 100 years old or if you're,
No, I think,
Yeah, I don't think that makes any
there's
difference.
not a lot of people opening up farms, there's not a plethora of farms opening up, so
you're
if
not
if
gonna
you,
shut
if-
down somebody that's been selling apples for 200 years.
right, but if you jump through enough hoops and cut through enough red tape, you can open a farm, and if you did that, then you should be entitled to, you can go to farmer's market in Hartford and get a whole variety of things, if you wanna go through all the effort and put the stuff in your farm stand, I don't see an issue with it, you're already a farm.
Yeah.
Whether it came here from there or wherever, or the peaches came in from Georgia, I don't know. I don't see it being an issue. You're a farm, and you're not opening a Walmart. I mean,
Well, and you're providing a service to the community.
Exactly.
Where else can
Right.
we get fresh stuff? And
I'll
this is
give
what
you
we all
I'll give you an
want.
example where you kind of need to turn a blind eye. In Glastonbury years ago, there was a big uproar over people doing dump runs. Are they commercial haulers? Can they dump here? This and that. And all of a sudden it blew up, and all of a sudden the town hall was packed, and it was deemed that they're providing a service to elderly people, to people that don't, a working single mom who doesn't have a pickup truck to go to the dump once a month.
The same issue here.
So, there's certain things you just, you gotta look at it in a different light.
Well, you gotta look at it, you're providing a service.
100%.
And this is a service, I think that certainly we all wanna take and have fresh fruit and vegetables.
Right.
Yeah.
And whether they got grown on Glastonbury soil or whether they got grown in East Haddam soil, doesn't make any difference to me. Go ahead.
Especially in this town of East Haddam, one thing that's been supported is the farm community. Business has been shut down for years. We're doing much better now. EDC's helped business out a lot. But the whole town should rally to support anybody that offers such a wonderful service. In today's society, we should bow down to anybody that's got a farm and supplying things
And
like
willing
that
to work
us.
like you gotta work on a farm.
It's such a wonderful thing nowadays. People are leaving the farm, so to give the support to a farmer's market, I'm 100% behind that. To
All right,
offer
why
such
don't-
a nice thing to the town.
Right, why don't we take and, you and I, why don't we draft a letter to the Ag Commission and also to P and Z and just state, almost just what you said. It's,
importance
you're
of it.
providing a service, God, let's do everything we can to take and make
The
this work.
beauty, you to drive by somebody, it really warms my heart to drive by and see a farmer selling something on the road. I mean, that's why I'm from the country. I love it. It gives me chills. You bring somebody in from out of the country, out of town, in the state, stop for an apple. Stop
I
for
would
some
never buy my
corn.
pumpkin or corn stalks from
corn.
Stop and Shop.
I get
You
goosebumps.
get it right there from the farm, and you talk to the
Right.
people, you meet the people, and that's what makes a community.
We are the
I said
country.
I said it years ago when they made pay at the pump. I said now there's no inclination to go inside and talk to the clerk. It's breaking down.
You don't even
community.
know who the clerk is anymore.
You may not be speaking
If there
English.
is one.
If there is, right.
Keep it easy.
So, does that make the most sense for us? Let's draft something, so we go on record basically saying, we support
support these
farm
folks.
stands, and let's do everything we can in order to take
That
and
was
make
10
this
minutes.
work.
Recorded.
Excuse me. I think Dave's not aware of it. We only have a 3-minute limit.
Oh, really? Oh. Geez, he's tough over this side. I don't know.
I said my piece. Let's vote on something.
We can make motions, throw any of us out of here, All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna write a letter. Lauren, you and I, let's take and, or if you could draft something up, send it over to me. Let's take and make sure it has, the things that we want, and then maybe we can get that.
Yeah.
And we'll make it so that.
And I'll
we're-
send you the letter I sent them, because I did write on personally and as an EDC person.
Oh, you do, okay.
So, and they read it out loud at the meeting, and I think they're aware that we all want to work together, and this is something, nobody complains about going to a farm, like, and if you go to the farm stand, you know what you're in for, you know what I mean?
There's no
So,
surprises.
But I think we need to go on record.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
basically say this so that, we're not gonna say, well, we didn't hear anything from EDC. We don't know what they're
Right.
thinking.
And the Ag Commission, because I told them I was working on the farm stand trail map the whole night, I'm like, well, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, are there gonna be any farm stands left? I'm not gonna go do this. So they do wanna work with us. They meet the first Monday of every month, I guess.
Okay, first Monday is theirs.
So I think, it was a good conversation. Everybody needs to kind of, I think, rally together and,
And I think that's it. So I think that the more we can support the Ag Commission to take and say, okay, let's make the rules, but let's make the rules so they work for,
Right.
I don't know, what do we have, 10, would you say, stands
Probably.
out there?
yeah.
All right, so, basically, we got 10 small farm stands out there. Let's see what we can do to take and make so that these 10 stands and whoever owns these things, that it works. And not make it so that, somebody feels like, oh, jeepers, they don't want us to do anything out here.
Right.
And let's make
Well,
it
that's
the
like
other way
originally-
around.
Right.
We-
When
we
I
wanna
first read
make
the
it-
article, I was like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
That sounds like something new. A couple years ago, where are the local businesses? Where are the local this and that? But we never mentioned about where are the local farm stands.
That's what
So
let's
that's
do
something
it.
new that's on the agenda, and you're getting that off the ground, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
actually getting a little map, that could be part of that brochure that we have, the farm stand. That's a
Yeah.
real nice thing for the town
Yeah,
of
to
East
do.
Haddam.
Yes.
because
Yeah,
people
cool
love
thing.
farm stands. I mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't?
Well, that's right.
If I see one, I stop wherever I am,
Oh, that's great.
It's just
That's
like
a
a
great
junk
idea.
store,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
stop at junk
exactly,
stores too,
yeah.
just to see what they got.
If I find a treasure, you never know.
All right, so that's what we're gonna do on that anyway, and we'll put that together and we'll make sure that the Ag gets a copy, P and Z gets a copy. No, you two going in. All right, and on the other thing we worked on, this month was, the River Trails Group. We did have a meeting with COG. Excellent meeting. It took probably an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. So this was the town of Chester, the town of Haddam, and the town of East Haddam. We met over in Haddam. And we met with COG, and they had Haddam had Bill Warner, their town planner there. And so it worked out really well, and so they're gonna be working on finding basically funding for that bike trail. And we did apply, and we're supposed to know maybe even this week whether we're gonna be granted that. So as soon as I hear on that, I will also get out a notice to everybody. Then the River Trails Group is going to be writing their final report on this, and that's going to be available on June, the last week in June. And so they'll have a full report of basically all our meetings for a year and what they've discovered and what they found and the feasibility and all that sort of thing of it. So I think that'll be a very favorable letter. And I think that they said, working with basically this whole 3 towns has been really good for them because that's what they like to do. They like to coordinate it so that it isn't just a single group or a single town, that it ends up being multiple towns or multiple groups that put this together. So anyway, so I think it's going very well, and so we'll just keep up to date on what's going on with that. Also, we had in the minutes there about the parking in the Moodist area, in particular the Plains Road area. I met with the property owner, going over a couple of possibilities. So we're basically going to be drawing up what came out of the meeting and taking that to P&Z.
Encouraging?
Encouraging, yeah. I saw cooperation on both sides and a little give and take on both sides.
Yeah.
So I see it as, maybe EDC being in the middle here a little bit can smooth the waters a little bit and make it so the thing can work. So we'll find out, but I think that I found more give and take on both sides here. And so I'm
That's cool
hopeful
news.
on that. And
Fantastic.
if we could iron that out, and then we can go to the next step and start to get grants to actually do something along Plains Road here. And so I would say that it's encouraging, let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
Fantastic.
So we're going from there. And I think that's basically what I wanted to update the commission on. And we can get into a few other things as we go down, and when we get into new business, I do have one item I want to bring up. First selectman is not here, so we will move on to economic development. What can you tell us?
Not much other than the farm stand thing. That's kind of been my focus, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, and that's, I
The last
think that's really what we're looking to do. And I think that if you could also just see if that's enough to make any kind of a pamphlet out of. Can we get some of the visitors guides tonight? Is
Yeah,
your
yeah.
office open?
Yeah, I have my key. Yep.
Okay, and let's take
I
in,
need some too.
yeah, let's
Okay,
get a
yeah.
box and maybe we could get a few around town. Could you
Yeah,
drop a few
yeah, I haven't,
off down at?
I haven't seen the new ones.
Yeah, well, we'll give you a box tonight, maybe you could take some down to ESO
sure.
and, you know,
Okay.
around the center of town a little bit. And then if we can take and get some others around to some of the other businesses, and, so if we could all take a box tonight, let's see if we can get some out into the community, and I wanna take, and I'm trying to keep, do you keep them in the hallway down here? I've been putting them in here, but they
table.
disappear.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
good. No,
that's
I
good.
haven't put any. I
Oh,
didn't realize
okay.
you did that.
If,
Okay.
if you come in the building and you see that there's none down there, throw some in there,
Okay.
because every time I come in, I throw some in there.
Okay.
And I will say, a lot goes out of there.
That's good.
So, that's good.
Do we still have that little box that holds them down in the center of town? Did we have one or two of those town parking
We had
lots?
one of them on the pole down there, and I have not
Check.
put any in there.
I'll check and see if it's
See
still
if
there.
they're, yeah, see if it's down there still,
Few
and
in
if
there.
it is,
That's a
put
nice
some in.
idea.
Yeah, let's put some in, so people walking around the center of town there, and could take and do it. So let's get the visitors' guides out and get those out into the community as much as we can. And we'll pick those up after the meeting, if it's okay with you. Okay, subcommittee reports, basically the river trails, I've kind of updated you on that. And I think that that group is coming along well. The other item was the Mudas Development and Parking. I think that we kind of went over that. The bike trail, we talked about, and additional uses in zoning. I haven't gotten into that yet. I'll see if we can't get into that. The crosswalks in the South Town Street area, that looks like is going to get incorporated into the bike path. We did apply for that $40,000 grant, and that would probably, we do have that we basically did to give a idea of where we want some crosswalks, and that plan will come out of the engineering study that $40,000 will cover. And so I expect that will be incorporated into the bike path engineering study. The Business Association and the Welcome Wagon. Mike, could you give us a little idea what's going on with the Business Association? You said that there was gonna also be
So
a
we've got
meeting coming up?
networking event coming up next Wednesday from 6 to 8 at the Portland Ale House. And if I have not sent you an invite on that, I apologize. It was just an oversight on my part. I will definitely send that to anybody that I haven't. We're looking to get back into having monthly networking events with different business association members. Last month we had one at Corvo. This month it's going to be at Portland Ale House. We'll see where it goes from there. It's just a real casual kind of networking event. Come in, meet different business owners from Portland, East Haddam, and pass some business cards back and forth, and have a drink and some appetizers on us.
So the Business Association is the East Haddam Business Association, or is
East
it,
Haddam Business Association.
is sponsoring this?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yep.
And where are they located over there in Portland?
If you're going towards the bridge, it's right before the bridge on the right-hand side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's,
And what's the
Right up the
date
road.
over at Colville?
I'm sorry, it was last month.
Oh, yeah,
It was okay. I mean, it wasn't as well attended as we would have liked, but there was, you know,
Sorry, I
decent.
missed it.
No worries. There's always gonna be another one. So we're planning on having something once a month.
Oh, okay,
So
that's
going
great.
forward.
Okay.
And it's gonna be, you know, different area businesses, whether it's in East Haddam, East Hampton, Portland. We like to kind of spread the wealth with some of the members.
Well, it's also makes it so we can see other
See the other
business owners
businesses.
here, you know, we're small towns, we
Sure.
need to
Yeah,
be a little
spread
bit
out a
more.
little bit.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mike.
Yes.
Excuse me for a moment. How do you support this? You didn't say you supplied it, everybody goes in, BYOB,
It's,
You have
yeah,
your-
you purchase a drink, we buy your first drink.
right?
Okay, and whether whichever business we're at supplies some appetizers, or we pay for some appetizers as a business association, and then you can order whatever you want
But you,
beyond that.
but how do you support that? A little donation or?
No, we pay for it out of the business association's account.
Their dues.
Yeah.
It's out of their, out of
So
the
it comes
business association dues.
Dues and
That's quite a nice
different
idea.
events that we have going on.
Yeah.
too.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think that'll help build the membership
Yeah,
back up again
yeah.
too. It's,
Right.
you gotta have activities in order to
Absolutely,
take and get
absolutely.
the
We-
interest level there, and as soon as people start talking with each other,
yeah.
then that kind of.
yeah. And we've got a-
I think that's great, dear, if you can do that once a month
Absolutely.
somewhere, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
So-
definitely. We've got a new website, ehbact.com, and we just started taking credit cards for membership dues. So we're moving up in the world.
All right.
And then as far as the welcome wagon, I got a call out of the blue from Bob the other day.
Okay.
And he's now living in Salem.
Oh,
So he's not as worried about making the trek here.
oh, wow, okay.
So let's really talk about getting something on the calendar with him and see if we can get him either to one of our meetings, or if nothing else, have a, you know, a sit down with him, Irene, Lauren, and anybody else
Yeah.
involved, because he's looking to, right now, he's in Colchester.
Yep.
And he's looking to branch out in Salem because that's where he is now. And he's more than happy to have the conversation on getting something going here in East Adam.
Why don't we have them come to a meeting so everybody could hear the whole thing?
Yeah.
And rather than going through us,
Yep.
We could have them here and we
Let's
could ask
pick a
any
date.
questions we want. And if he lives in Salem now,
Yeah.
that's a lot
Yeah,
different.
it's
Before he was
Agawam.
living in Rhode Island or something. And
Yeah.
would you make and just let him know that our next meeting, and
schedule
we
him for
would
the next
really
meeting.
like to, and
Okay. Mm-hmm.
you know, we can put him on first on the agenda so he doesn't have to, you know, hang
Sure.
around and listen to everything else we discuss, and
Absolutely.
we'll put him on as a new business and
Mm-hmm.
a new business item, I should say. And
Yeah, yeah.
and if we could have him just make a little spiel as to what they do, how they do it, how it gets covered with costs and
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yep,
Okay,
will
that
do.
that would be really nice to take and do then, and we'll go from there. All right. Anything else that you'd like to bring up?
All I've got.
Okay, well, that's two good things there. I love the idea that the business association is getting rolling.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
we're getting some people from all over. We had a solar guy from Griswold show up at the last meeting, so we're reaching out.
Yeah, yeah, great, and, you know, let's face it, we like to,
Be a good connection for you.
and like to take and hear what other people are doing here and going from there.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's talk about that.
let's see, okay, Goodspeed Landing and the Swing Bridge project. I mean, I guess we all saw that the 63-hour closings are coming up next month now.
Oh, yeah?
And,
15th or?
it's the
Fourth,
6th,
I
is
thought.
it? Lauren, when are they gonna start those 60?
I thought it was the 1st of June,
Oh, really?
that week, right?
Yeah, it's
It's
the
the
first.
fourth.
The
yeah.
4th.
It's the fourth, that's Sunday through
Oh,
Wednesday.
okay.
Sunday through, it's like Sunday night to Wednesday at 11, I
11,
believe.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sunday evening,
Yep, at like 7 or 8 PM.
usually do 7 or so, that's what they were doing,
Yep,
right?
and then it will reopen,
11 o'clock on Wednesday.
yep,
Yeah.
So, and they're gonna do that every week, right? Every week from-
fall,
to the fall?
Fall,
fall.
till October, yeah, end
October,
of
yeah.
October,
Wow, oh, okay, I thought we were talking just June, it's all right straight through.
every week.
Okay.
Well,
so-
but, you know, that is also,
Subject
that's what they
to.
tell you, and then if there's, for one reason, they don't have a part or this or that, it can change, but they, so like
So
with
they've
the
just-
with the overnight closures, there were a lot of times, they were scheduled but didn't, the text, people should be on the text stream, cause
Yeah.
that's
That's
actually.
helpful. Changed it, yeah.
That's really good, yeah.
And it is nice, because they'll give it to you for that night. Well, it's just like last night, you know,
Yeah,
it was
I just
actually
got one.
closed last night. So, you know, and then it's open tonight. So, that's the only way you can really get these, is to really be on those. And,
Yeah.
but certainly it means there's gonna be a lot of closings going on here all summer long here.
Absolutely.
That's gonna be, challenging for everybody, that's for sure. So, okay, we didn't have a business of the month this month. Lauren and I didn't get together, but we'll get together. Matter of fact, we'll get one very soon going, and we'll get that one, set and going. Old business, I'd like to, just throw out on the table here, especially with Bill here. The airport festival, as far as basically the EDC getting involved with doing this festival, and trying to hire an event director. I'm kind of just gonna throw this on the table, that EDC would hire a director to do it. We'd probably have to front it some money in order to make that happen. And then we could direct them, or he or she or whomever, to put a festival together at whatever size is agreeable, that we think works. And so if it's based on, you know, how many vendors you got and how many activities you have and all that sort of thing. But I think that would be something that we could give them direction on. And then, of course, it's gonna be subject to the owners of the airport, that everything is gonna be
Now-
subject to their approvals on every inch of the way, and certainly whoever this director is.
And excuse me, and is Bill, open?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and the
Yeah, that's
second
right.
thing is,
We just can't put it on.
right, I understand, I remember our last conversation, all the
Yeah.
input, it takes a lot.
Yep.
But, would the planner also be involved in trying to get the traffic situation corrected?
Absolutely, that's gonna be the,
Because, last
that's
2
gonna
years,
be
that
the
was the
job.
biggest
That
hurdle.
was part of my suggestion of saying why the town should be involved, because they could have better
Have to be.
control over that stuff.
Well, I think then
Yeah.
we can hire the police department, and we can hire and basically give them the direction as to what we want. Where do we want the parking? And we
Wow.
can gear this thing to, basically, is 2,000 people work? Does 3,000 people work? You know, I think we need to give this some direction, and
Right.
basically, the size of this thing maybe needs to be, you know, 6,000 people was probably
Well-
more than the whole thing could stand.
They thought they had it under control. After the first year, we broke them in. The second year,
Well, that was
overwhelmed.
3,000 though, and that
Yeah,
was 3,000
but-
the first year.
it was a disaster. That was the only thing
It was the
that
people
a
walking
problem,
on the
was the
bridge that
traffic.
really, but next time hopefully there'll be a walkway on the bridge, so
Right,
that
right,
will
so that'd be helpful.
alleviate that.
Right.
Yeah.
That was causing
Well, several years down the road,
two.
too.
Hmm.
Well, that's
Pray.
two.
Yeah, because,
Remember
yeah,
last-
obviously, you know, we're not doing anything this year, so
Oh,
we're
oh, you're
talking,
not. Oh,
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
this
it's
year is off the
Yeah,
chart.
yeah.
okay.
So what we're
early.
talking about in sometime in, you know,
Okay.
August,
And
September.
Thomas, the past, he's expressed interest in doing it again now.
Who
So,
has?
Thomas.
Oh, okay.
With Sanders.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he was like, I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, I don't need to do it again, but now he's kinda like, I kinda.
Tom
Kinda
Sawyer-
like-
Other things that I could hit, it
Tom
could be,
Sanders.
you know?
Yeah.
Tom Sanders,
Yep.
right.
And he
And
did
then-
do a good job, like,
Yeah.
he
And
thought
this-
of it all.
This is like whoever would, if that didn't happen, whoever, he's got everything from a P&L statement to, you know, it is, you wouldn't go in saying, I have to figure this out. It's like everything from like, we need this many volunteers for garbage, and we need this.
And then now, excuse me, last time he did it for nothing, correct?
Correct.
And now this time,
I
could we
think he would still
encourage
do
him
the same
for a fee?
Yeah.
Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, that's
Maybe
what
he
I'm-
could be the
Yeah,
planner.
I think it's only fair if
Good.
we're gonna try to, because I'd like this thing to continue on. I
Right.
mean, it's gotta work for the owners of
I've
the
had-
airport.
I've had a lot of phone calls and
I know
emails
people
and
have been
stuff, and they're
contacting me like, oh, is it happening?
When's the fair this
That's
year?
interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, so, I mean, the thought is to make this a paid director, and, but hopefully it can be reimbursed out of proceeds out of the project. So, I think that so long as there's enough fee income coming in, it'll pay for a director.
Yeah.
And make the
And
two
it's-
work.
You know, it's an interesting thing. So for instance, like Jansky's, they donated the dumpster and all the porta potties and the hand washing
did.
and all that stuff.
Wow.
And when we floated the idea of like, all right, well, if there was a small fee at the door to kind of make this, so, it doesn't lose a little bit of money. It was all good, but it was just a little bit of money
Yeah.
lost. And they were like, well, if you were going to do that, we wouldn't be able to donate.
But you're talking $2 or something. Are you talking $2 or
And
$5?
so for instance, and don't hold anything against them, but the Janskys were like, well, if we're gonna donate all this, it's a substantial amount of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a.
And you're charging people to come in, we don't wanna donate it.
Right.
And
you know what,
so
I-
and that was a big thing with Thomas. He was like, I think this should stay a free event for the town. He said, I see this as an event that brings the town together, and it should be free for people to walk through the door. And that was his vision. That was his, his guiding principle, let's just say. It was a community event.
It's
to bring
already
hard
have
to,
parking for
it's
free.
hard to sustain that,
Yeah.
and,
Look,
go ahead. I didn't-
Excuse me, but you already have parking for free, and if you come to a nice event like that, to put $2 out, $2 times 6,000.
Right.
3,000,
It would
there's
be enough to
6,000.
cover
You
some of the
can do
expenses, yeah.
The Janskys.
Yeah.
Pepe and Carol donated
Exactly,
some time.
yeah, yep.
Next time around, if I'm around, I'm certainly gonna help Pepe and Carol.
Yeah.
It'll be a pleasure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
And
that
there was many.
There was a
people who
lot of
donated
donors.
stuff. And
There was a
did,
lot of
you know,
donors that
Money
did-
and,
that
go
donated.
down the list and be.
but
yeah.
I don't think you can go to the well over and over again.
Right. It
And,
would be nice to come up with a model that held that vision and was sustainable.
And I think that, when you have somebody like the Janskys who donated so much, or, Eddie's Auto Body that donated so
Yep.
much.
Mike from across the river.
But Mike,
Yep.
and I think, we had some big donors there, and, but I think that certainly some of them need to take and collect some fee income for their efforts there, especially like with garbage. I mean, it's a job. You gotta truck it all out of there, so
Yep.
I think that those are the kind of people that need to get paid. I think the director needs to take and get paid, otherwise they're not gonna come back.
Yeah.
And,
I think where there's some room to build some revenue into the plan would be, if it was again like that 6,000 people, and that could only happen if traffic and parking were managed better.
Right.
Which I think is possible to do.
I do too.
Booths could cost a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then maybe charge for parking. And it's free at the gate. That's
Yeah.
not, where do you go
Without
and park
even
for
there.
$5 or less, or more,
No, that's
you
true.
pay 10 to 15
That's
bucks to
reasonable.
park most places.
$5.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And I think if I came in with a carload and I can do it for $5, I'll tell you that's a good buy. So,
That's right.
but I think that, those are all the things that could be worked out with a director in charge of it.
Yep.
And I think then let's see what, everybody thinks and kind of work it out. But I think my question is, do you want this board to get into this and see if we can do this?
Oh,
say
that's why I
yes.
brought it up, yeah, I mean, so I'm saying
Yeah.
if we can find the right person to manage it, then,
Well, I think there's a lot of advantages to using EDC, and because, to tell you the truth, I don't see anybody else jumping on this.
Right, right.
And I also think that we can bring we can bring cooperation with the police department, we can bring
Right.
cooperation with the fire
Town-
department,
town
we can bring cooperation with the ambulance department, we can bring cooperation with
Yep.
town local zoning. I think the towns can do a lot to help this along, and I think that it probably is.
Say it in one sentence, the fire department, you don't have to add the ambulance department.
Yeah, right. Everybody else. will come.
Sorry.
But no, it is, it's a case where I think that, you know, we can get, you know, some real support from basically utilizing the town facility.
Yes, yeah.
And having an EDC name carry this thing, and basically, I think we'll have to front some money to make this happen, but I think that we could, you know, go to the Board of Finance and say there will be a certain percent of it will come back. First year.
Right.
Maybe there will be a slight deficit, but I think it will be worth it when we can have entertainment like that for I don't care, anywhere between 3,000 and 6,000 people.
Yeah.
And then-
Puts us on a
And
map,
it,
it's a
if it
remarkable
was,
location.
you know, another way to kind of soften the traffic blow would be to consider doing it over 2 days.
I think Bill's bringing back the Rivertown. People are starting to realize that East Haddam is on the river.
Yeah.
Well, you sure get the feeling when you're on that airport, I'll tell you that. You're definitely there. All right, so
We
we're.
just had our docks installed.
We're gonna work together on this and see how we could organize it, and see how we could get a director, and then let's start meeting with the director and see if we can't get this, because it's the old story, time goes by fast on us, and I really wanna
A year to
get,
plan is.
I wanna
enough.
do it this summer, and basically this summer have it pretty much put together, whoever we're gonna get on board with us, and then start to work on all the ifs, ands, and buts that are out there, so.
Do you think Thomas will do it again?
I know he said that he kind of was, I can talk to him.
All right.
Yeah, it'd be nice to
I don't-
invite him.
The only other person, and I'm totally volunteering him, is Ryan from the bookstore. He's pretty like motivated, and he thinks East Haddam should be like a festival town. Like,
Right,
that's,
right, yeah.
So he might be worth talking to.
Yep.
I'm happy to help, but I cannot take that on.
Oh, I know.
So,
Yeah,
like,
it's a huge.
Because I know
mean,
Thomas
it's a full-
originally,
it's,
like,
you know, for,
he's like, you're gonna do this.
for the couple months leading up to it, it was a full-time job.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
for Sure, let alone he was working almost,
Bet.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, getting food trucks, you start like
Right.
Yeah,
in January.
Yeah.
For the food trucks
Following year,
in the
yeah.
fall.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
know,
You gotta get signed up and get them in there, because,
And all of those food trucks reached out to him and said, "Oh, we're setting our schedule up. You know, are you guys on it again?" So
yeah.
it was. There were a few booths who said like, "Oh, we didn't," but everybody else was like, "This was the biggest thing I've ever done."
I'd say from what I talked to, I mean, basically,
Yeah.
the booths were all pretty popular.
And if I could throw my 2 cents in, I think we pull the political stuff out and just make it stuff
Agreed.
for people to.
Yeah, I would agree
there
with
for
that.
it.
What do you guys think about the time of year? Like, do you want to still do it in the summer or fall or?
I'd say August or September, right?
Yeah, you know, the heat is the big thing.
Right,
There's-
it was
yeah,
so-
That was
it-
so hot
If
that-
it was,
It was
if
warm,
if
yeah.
it's set up in the summer, then more shade area would need to be created.
Yeah,
you know, in
because
order to
I
make
had a
that happen.
booth and like just from the people, like it was so hot, people
Right.
didn't even want to stop. They wanted to get their food and drinks,
That's a good
like
point,
skim it
right.
and go.
Right.
So like, they
Yeah.
weren't really shopping, I guess, because it was brutal. I sold hats. That's
Yeah.
what I sold.
And you know,
So
if
would you
move
say
it-
that's the September would be?
I think September would be awesome.
Yeah,
Because it's
and it
still
would just have to
warm.
fit between fairs,
Yeah.
Fairs,
just
yep.
before the
Especially
fairs
Almanac.
start, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
I would say that, you know, trying to do it in August, chances are it's gonna be a hot day.
Yep.
And of course,
yep.
an airport don't have any trees, so it's hot down there.
Yep.
And even when you
And
put
for
the
the booths
tent,
that are set up against the building and the sun
Oh, yeah,
reflects off.
it was warm.
inside those booths, you know, get inside a tent, it's hotter than hell in those tents. So, all right, let's kind of think September, and then obviously we gotta pick times when it works for the airport and
I
do
mean, our
that,
times, you know, flexible, but with enough notice, they can.
work around it.
Yeah.
Okay. Could it be something where we could use 2 days? Do you think that's possible?
Yep.
That-
It's kind of, it would kill the airport for, at least 3 days because of setup, and then the event, and then, breakdown happens pretty quick.
Breakdown seems to move out really quick,
Yeah.
and,
So it
but
doesn't,
it,
the
the
airport
setup
could be
time,
open. Yep.
you do need that additional day.
And I thought it was way too much effort, but the parachutist was like, people love that.
But that's also what costs the money with the
It was about
insurance.
$5,000, and it was like, or maybe it was 4, I don't know, but it was like, do we really need to? No, people love and sure enough, everybody stopped and looked up.
Oh, no, it's, we all like to take and see it
So,
because it's
yep.
going on. And, but.
And stuff like, it didn't end up going up, but like the hot air balloon would have been free because that was Remax advertising.
Oh, it was Remax who had that?
So you can organize that, and that if it was just too windy that day, and stuff,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And the military is free. Did you know you can like request like a tank to come rolling down your street? The military.
Yeah,
You have to
saying
just
that
go
before.
through the right
Right
people
people?
and know the military speak, and you can request military resources for, if it's not for profit, and it's, I forgot all the criteria, but yeah, those, so like the guard stuff that was there, the helicopters and stuff, it was all just like.
You can
you have to
request that
Do the
stuff.
request,
the right
and
people.
send it to the right
No
people,
kidding.
and
That's great.
you can request anything. I want 50 soldiers to march down the street. Can I make, with playing music? And if they can do it, they'll do it. We paid for it.
Right. Okay, so in other words, if you want some tanks, we'll get you some tanks, huh? All right, anybody have anything they'd like to bring up before the commission here? Anything you'd like us to be looking into or doing or get into at all? Because as you're out there and you're talking to anybody, I mean, if you have any ideas on things that we can do to help any businesses, let's know it and go from there. Is the EDC a member of the Business Association?
I don't think so.
Really? Okay.
And they take credit cards.
And squeeze the commissioner, huh?
Could we take and have a vote on the EDC joining the Business Association so that basically we support the Business Association and our working relationship with them? What is the
$50 for the year.
$50 a year? So if somebody would make a motion to appropriate $50 to
Second.
join it. I got a motion and a second.
To join it.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. I think
Thanks,
that's.
guys.
Yeah, okay, no, I think.
Wipe that card.
I think it makes sense, yeah, huh?
Well, no, I want to grow this working relationship.
You should take Venmo, and then you don't have to pay a fee.
So we will make that up and get it through finance and get a check out to you. And, okay, but like I say, if anybody hears anything out there, anybody hears something that businesses would like us to get into, by all means. And I think the idea of the parking around Moodus, I think it's going to grow. I think it's going to get up onto Main Street and go from there. We'll see what happens. And then, but I think that if we can be successful with Plains Road, and then we can move on and see if we can get somewhere else. So if there isn't anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right.
Lauren's already out of here.
Jesus.